With Halloween coming up and the spooky season being upon us, we at Wavelength wanted to show you all something very on theme for this month. Last weekend, Abby and I took the Fairhaven Gore and Lore tour, hosted by the Good Time Girls. The Good Time Girls hold historical walks called Belling History guided walking tours, where they share the stories of Bellingham, and most importantly, its people. We took one of 2 Gore and Lore tours, which take place in Fairhaven, where we went, and in downtown Bellingham. So if you're dying to hear all the scary stories surrounding your college town, purchase a ticket soon. This tour started on the Village Green lawn right behind Village Books, where we met our 2 amazing guides, Andra and Asia.
And we like to focus on the parts of history that are often left out of the textbook or the history classroom. Think like rum runners, teetotalers, serial killers.
Us and around 20 other people then were told about the settlement of Bellingham and its founder, Dirty Dan Harris.
And makes his way up to Victoria, British Columbia, where he builds a rowboat called the Phantom, and then he rows his way from Victoria over to Fairhaven. So his arms should be much bigger than that statue shows.
He was also called Dirty Dan because of his lack of hygiene and stinky smell. After learning a bit about the town's founder, we made our way to Harris Avenue, where we were then told that Marine Park, once named Dead Man's Point, was filled with tons of bodies because it was a graveyard.
Fast forward, we have the town's incorporating and Bayview Cemetery established. So when Bayview Cemetery gets established, the city needs that to start being used as a burial ground for everybody in town, but also for everyone to dig up their dead and move them over to Bayview Cemetery. And when the city was incorporating and trying to redevelop, level certain streets and areas, put in infrastructure, they were digging down and they were just finding bodies all the fucking time. So with Dead Man's Point, that was the cemetery used at the time, and the coroner Warner had to dig up all the dead that he knew of, and that was about 60 bodies, take them up to Bayview Cemetery with a wagon, and about 30 years later, he thought he got them all, but 30 years later, they are ready to level the hill, and they were digging away at it, but the fire department had recently gotten a new hydraulic hose system.
You'll have to go on the tour to know the rest.
How you feeling?
Pretty good.
Good.
A little scared. It's a little spooky.
Yeah. I didn't know about all this history.
I didn't know this because I go to Marine Park all the time, and now I know that dead bodies are there.
Yeah.
So cool.
As we walked around Fairhaven, our guides continued to tell us the horrific details of murders taking place in our own very town, including one where the victim was found dead in her own potato patch. Soon we went into the well-known Sycamore Square, where paranormal sightings of the Lady in Green have taken place. Known as a popular location in Fairhaven, if you've been inside this building, you know that it feels a bit eerie.
There are children in the stairs. No.
Ghost hunters often come to train within this building, and during one of their tests, 2 voices were caught eerily speaking their names. Listen to this. A bit spooky, right? Both Abby and I were a bit freaked out, but it was cool to hear more stories that added to the creepy night.
A little spooked, to be honest. There's a lot more paranormal activity than I thought there would be, but that's a good thing because I like that and that's cool. How do you feel, Abby?
Definitely after hearing the audio recording, a little like...
Yeah, that was scary.
Yeah.
After a few more tellings, we made our way back to Harris Avenue, where we were then told about the dead men who were embalmed and placed in front of some buildings in order to get people to identify who they were and hopefully get them back to their families. Some guy even got embalmed with tons of bullet holes showing through his chest. Pretty gruesome, right? After about an hour and a half, our tour was over, and we then thanked our lovely guides for the awesome storytelling.
I wanted to ask them their favorite scary stories of Bellingham. Mine is about tunnel number 9, which is over by Woodstock Farm, and there, in the early 1900s, I believe, there was like a super decomposed body found hanging in the tunnel, and it was really torn up, and it creeped me out really bad the first time I heard about it. But it was weird. There was so little left of it that they weren't really able to figure out who it ever was, and exactly how long it had been there. It's not totally clear whether a train hit it. They think that somebody hung themselves and then hung there for a really long time. And that's not the only body hanging story in that area and only bad tunnel story about that tunnel. So maybe just tunnel number 9 as a general, don't go there. Don't walk through there. It's very creepy, lots of bad stories.
And don't walk over the train tracks, because if a train comes, then that's a different
you're in
kind
the
of
tunnel.
scary.
Yeah.
Or you're jumping into the freezing water.
Yeah, not good. That tunnel is cursed.
Story that comes to my mind, 1980s, there was a body in Boiler Stack 9, which was the toilet paper factory. Was it the toilet paper factory at that time? Yeah. At Waypoint Park in Bellingham, where that park is now, there were the boiler stacks, and it wasn't working, so they looked inside, and there was a really, really burned body, and they could never figure out who it was or how they got there. Like, it would have been a really big challenge to even get into that. And he, like, had his socks on his hands and stuff and was trying to climb out, scratch marks.
And a burned up plane ticket that you couldn't see the location.
Yeah, which is crazy that survived. Like,
I know.
The way it describes it, it's like a fully charred body, but like part of a plane ticket.
It's really creepy. Oh
my God.
Those ones I don't like.
Yeah, I don't like that ones.
We'd like to give a special thanks to the Good Time Girls for letting us film and take a part of this tour. Please go support their business and explore the many tours they have. Thank you all for watching. Have a happy Halloween!